Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I'm not gonna lie, it really took me a second. So let's talk about Chad and Abby. They're going through their lines. There gets to a point where there's supposed to be a kiss. Abby decides that she doesn't want to rush things, and Chad is like, "All right, fine." So they continue to go along with reading the script. At one point, it looks like they're about to kiss, and of course, EJ comes down there to just ruin the mood. I gotta sit there and say, and I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Every time I see a scene with EJ, it's just great. I know I said Steve is my favorite character, and he is my favorite character, but yeah. I gotta sit there and say EJ is definitely one of my favorite characters. I feel like it's sort of like how I feel in General Hospital between Jason and Sonny. It's the same way that I feel between Steve and EJ. Anyway, he comes down there, he ruins the mood, and then they get into it again about, the fact that EJ told him, he felt like he got betrayed because Chad decided to fund his decided to fund his movie even though it was against EJ's wishes. It gets to a point where EJ's like, alright, you know what? Listen, because now he finds out he's going to be acting in the movie. He's like, you know what? You can't really sit there and do that and work at the company at the same time. So I'm just going to sit there and make a call to Shen and, tell him how you're too busy to, really take on your responsibilities at Demero, and, we'll just put your name right off there and you're not going to just be the sole CEO again. So they go back and forth. At one point, Abby gets involved, and, he's just like, yo, listen, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Since you want to sit there and screw me over, I got you. So he leaves, and Abby and Chad continues to read lines. They go upstairs, I guess, to tuck in Thomas and Charlotte. Two kids that we are probably never going to see for a very long time. Johnny comes home. Now, Johnny is disappointed and pissed, let's be honest, because when he was at the pub, Roman decided to back out the movie. Now this is because when Allie came in there, Allie was sitting there telling John and Roman, like, yo, listen, he changed the whole thing of the movie. But she assumed that they knew about it. And of course, John was so not okay with it. And John was like, yo, listen, here's how we're going to sit there and say this. I'm going to stop the movie by telling Marlena not to do it, and therefore, he won't actually have any rights to, do the movie. So he leaves. And when Chanel and Johnny gets there, Roman's like, yo, listen, you did this whole switch and bait thing. I don't like Snitty going back my word, but I'm not a fan of what you're doing. It's going to hurt way too many people, and I can't be a part of that. So he's like, I'm not going to do the movie. He was like, I'm not going to sit there and invest in the movie. And Johnny he's pissed off, he's disappointed, and, he needs that money to sit there and, make the movies. Now, he can't even do that. So they were supposed to go there to actually have a good dinner and stuff, but at that point, Johnny's like, you know what, I'm not even hungry, I'm just gonna just leave. Now, there was kind of a funny part when, Johnny was asking Chanel to be in the movie. Johnny asked Chanel to play some character that was a henchman to Stefano. And, he describes the character and stuff like that. Now, at one point, I don't exactly remember how it happened, but she was just like, so, are you only asking me because it's a black character? I'm sitting there, the way that Johnny was sitting there fumbling, like, oh, well, no, yes, maybe, I don't know, okay, maybe. I'm sitting there looking, and I'm just like, see, This is the part where I always said, you know, when I look at it and I'm like, see, people are, oh my goodness. In a sad way, I don't want to get into this conversation, but because of this scene that happened, I feel like I have to. It's no surprise that people are way oversensitive. Now more than ever. And while I do understand that there are certain behaviors that might have been accepted years ago in the 90s, that is clearly not okay now, and people do mature and evolve and everything like that. Like, she gets a little sassy because Johnny asked her to play a character that's, that's black. And I'm like, yes. He also asked her to sit there and play the character because she was black. Now, I mean, hell, he could have asked her to sit there and play somebody else and just, race swap the character or whatever. But, yeah, the character's black. And she had an attitude about him like, okay, he's asking you to sit there and play a black character. Why is that a problem? Oh, are you only asking me because, I'm black and she's black? I was like, well, that's kind of the requirement a little bit. I mean, the character is black and you are black, so I don't understand what the issue is. And it's not like, oh, I only just asked you just because, you're black. Like, no, you have a lot of other skills that's going to be useful to playing this character. But the fact that Johnny had to sit there and stumble and do all this, that, and the third just because, she may get a little sensitive because, race and stuff like that. It's like, oh my goodness. Like, I felt like that scene just kind of highlighted. I mean, granted, you can just look every day for as far as highlighting with, people being like overly sensitive about everything. But like, looking at that scene, it was like, really? I'm going to sit there and take it back a little bit. Chanel and Johnny was sitting talking to Tony about the possession and stuff. Now there's one little comment when Chanel was just like, oh, white people are crazy. And he's like, yeah. Now, the reason why I actually bring up that little comment is because I felt like if the roles were reversed and there was a white girl that said something like, oh, well, black people are X, Y, and Z, I mean, the comments, people would have been, outraged. They would have wanted that show canceled like yesterday if a white woman would have said something like, oh, black people are whatever. Like, they would have wanted that show canceled immediately. But because a black woman says a comment about white people, we just let it slide. And that's just something that just bothers me. And I didn't mean to sit there and go off on that whole tangent about that, but like, little things like that just kind of reminds me of like, well, it's always okay when one group of people say something, but if it was another group of people that says something, then we totally have a problem with that. So Johnny comes in, he's pissed off. And, he tells EJ about, him not, being able to do the movie, and you're like, I'm pretty sure you're going to be celebrating. And, EJ's like, no, I'm not going to be celebrating at all. Like, I understand, like, whatever. But then he's like, because, Johnny tells EJ about the fact that Roman backed out as far as financing. And EJ's like, alright, how would you feel about me, covering his costs as far as financing the movie? Now I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And Johnny's like, alright, well, what's the catch? There gotta be some sort of catch. So he's like, I'm not working at DeMero. I'm not working at DeMero Enterprises. I will sit there and be a busboy. I will sit there and clean garbages. I'll do whatever. I'm not sitting there doing it. EJ's like, no, no, no. I get it. You don't want to do it. That's fine. I'll give you the money if you let me play John Black. Oh my goodness, when you said that, I took a good minute. I had to pause it and just start laughing because I'm like, okay, EJ, I see what you're doing. Now, when earlier Abby asked, why did Chad want to play in the movie? Chad was like, oh, we should, be fun to do it together and go through this whole experience and stuff like that. Also, I don't have to sit there and worry about some stranger, being all over you. And now that EJ wants to sit there and play John Black, I'm like, okay, EJ, alright. It's moments like that I'm just like, this is why I like EJ. Because EJ is like, alright, you know what, I could sit there and try to mess around with your job or whatever. But I got a better idea. Since your wife wants to sit there and play Marlena, it's only fair that I sit there and play John Black. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait till he finds out. Oh my goodness. I feel like I should get something special like, I don't know, cheese doodles or something like that. Or like popcorn or something like that. Just to watch it. Because that's going to be amazing. So, the D, because I'm not going to actually say that name because it still makes me feel uncomfortable. Tells Marlena why Ben's child is so important. Because of the whole serial killer gene and stuff like that. And just makes him perfect for whatever he has planned for that child. But he was like, yeah, Ben Weston, his genes, his serial killer genes, his sister, Clyde. Oh, no. That baby is the perfect candidate. They debate back and forth and stuff like that. And, Marlena's like, well, Sierra is good. She comes from good, loving parents and stuff like that. Good, loving home. She will be the person that balances out. And that's when, he was like, hey, listen, I never said that it was going to be easy. But it's the challenge that's going to make it so much worth it. Now, they're talking back and forth. And what I found really odd was that when John came in, John was like, I heard two voices. So I heard two voices. But when Marlena was sitting there looking at the tape recorder before, when Ben was there, Marlena was like, did you hear anything? And Ben was like, what are you talking about? I don't know, I found it a little inconsistent. But then again, this whole, as I like to call it, Bruce Banner and the Hulk thing. Oh, 1 minute says she's possessed. The other minute, okay, cool. She's not in the driver's wheel. And, she's in the driver's wheel or whatever. I'm just like, I know they're playing this. I know they're going to sit there and play this through Christmas. I'm just like, well, Marlena, why don't you just tell John to, take care of it? Take care of this whole situation. But then again, I guess we're going to have somewhat of a story. Also, Ben talks to Sierra, says he's on board with the whole baby making thing. Sierra makes sure he's sure. He says yes. And then, they play mattress tag. I don't know. I sat there and I looked at her outfit and, Ben was like, oh my goodness, you look amazing. Like, we should have been having babies a long time ago. And I'm like, lingerie for me is a very fickle thing as far as, sometimes it looks amazing, sometimes it's whatever. This is one of those things that was like, alright, Sierra or the actress that plays her she looks amazing. Amazing. And I'll be honest, that outfit just didn't look, it didn't do her justice. All around, it just did not do her justice. But whatever. They proceed to play mattress tag, and then when they stop, or when it's over, they're all standing there, they're both sitting there talking about how amazing it was, and it was like extra special and stuff like that. Next thing you know, the candles go out, this gust of wind comes on in, and papers are flying all around, and just kind of looking like they're shook, like what is going on? And I'm gonna be honest, that part didn't disturb me. The little white noise machine thing kind of disturbed me. I'm like, you can play anything else? I know John was like, oh, by the way, I got this new white machine or whatever, this white noise machine that Paulina and Abe were raving about. I'm like, the minute I heard it, I was like, man, this is creepy as hell. Even for you know what it is? It's not just soap opera. It's just the whole subject matter. Anyway, there's one part where that creepy noise, white noise crap starts out. Then she's like levitating in the air. And I have to tell you the truth, at that point I was like, alright, this is... I felt like the white noise stuff was more creepier than when she was floating in the air. And I also knew about it because both, the actress that plays Marlena and Ben was on Kelly Live. Or, Kelly Clarkson, the Kelly Clarkson show. When she talks and she doesn't sing anymore. And if anyone knows why she does not sing anymore, please let me know. But yeah, I knew about that scene because she was there talking about it for a while. So when it happened, it was like, alright, cool. I'm not gonna lie, it almost looked like when Allie was there talking to Chanel. Even when, John was there talking about, how he was gonna stop the movie and everything like that. Allie looked like she was disappointed. I can never tell with her facial expression because sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, she just looks pretty stupid. But I looked at her and I was like, is she disappointed that this movie may not be made? Like, does she actually care about how Johnny feels? I mean, I know the whole reason why she's being so bitchy towards him is because of the whole Chanel thing. But I'm like, that's still a thing? Like, how long is that going to go on for? Never mind, it's the soap opera. I just answered my own damn question. I'm not going to lie. I think that's pretty much about it. I'm just going to check my notes real quick. Random question. Has anyone ever actually seen this on YouTube? Like, this whole thing where you could, I don't know, interact with, like, the video, sort of? Like, I never saw this before. This is so crazy to me. Has anyone ever actually seen that? Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. See you in the next video.